Hello, my fellow Americans. Welcome to Constitutional Rights class. Ladies and gentlemen, in the left corner, we have Sovereign Citizen, the challenger. In the right corner, we have the undefeated champion of the world, the United States Declaration of Independence. The main event of the evening. Let's get ready to rumble! This heated match will determine what kind of citizen we will choose for ourselves. Most of us, the people, know of the U.S. Declaration of Independence, and this classroom study will do a deep dive into the right of the people within the document. Since the idea of a sovereign citizen came before the Declaration, we will begin with what is a sovereign citizen. The term sovereign citizen is a name that was made up by the CIA in order to discredit a person, basically a personal slur. We, the people, might hear this defamation from an uneducated person working in the government. Although, what is a sovereign citizen? The short answer is, a sovereign citizen is a person that uses maritime law or admiralty law while being on the land, to use the law of the sea on the land. In a country such as the United States, using the law of the sea is the wrong path to walk. Using the law of the sea while being on the land instead of using the law of the land while being on the land could lead to disaster, because it is a military form of an attack to take over and seize the land without having rights to the land, which is an act of war. Here in the United States of America, our supreme law of the land is the United States Constitution, the Constitution being the law of the land. The United States Constitution is not the law of the sea, which is why we, the people of the USA, have the U.S. Declaration of Independence, the beginning step in the process to make the law of the land. Similar to how the common law, irrevocable establishment of religion trust is recorded with the state with a declaration of trust, therefore separating us from the straw man jurisdiction of the state, bringing ourselves into the church jurisdiction of the United States, as we, the people, are secure in our persons, so the free exercise thereof shall not be prohibited by any law, to be equally protected by the laws. However, does anyone know why the sovereign citizen is against constitutional rights? The United States fought a revolutionary war over it. Like the ocean shoreline is always shifting and changing placement of geographical location, because the water and the land are at constant war with each other, battling for space. A sovereign citizen is a foreigner to the law of the land. A sovereign citizen is a person that is attempting to be outside of the United States jurisdiction while being inside of the U.S. border. It is wrong, because a person who is inside of the U.S. border, they automatically fall under the law of the land, no matter who the person is or where they come from. The United States Constitution kicks in the moment a person steps 1 foot on American soil. The law of the sea ends at the beach. Oh, that's a huge haymaker from the right corner in the red, white, and blue trunks. The sovereign citizen goes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's back up on his feet. The left better get it together, or they don't stand a chance to beat the champ. Which brings us to the question, where did the sovereign citizen come from? What is an example of a real-life sovereign citizen in the world before the CIA coined the phrase? In the 7th century, 601 AD to 700 AD, the English people of the world around the location of the United Kingdom, as we know it today, the UK and surrounding islands can be traced back to early medieval times, where they used ad hoc fleets for seaborne invasions. And later in the 9th century, they were used against Viking invaders in naval battles, often led by the King of England, most likely because England had previously attacked the Viking territories during the 7th and 8th centuries. Notice the legacy of the sovereign citizen. The Navy of the United Kingdom being used to exceed the limitations of their own jurisdiction as a nation to wage war on other countries of the world, creating chaos and destruction in other lives of people who are not their own. Would the Viking people have attacked England if England had never attacked the Vikings in the first place? When the Navy is used by any country, maritime law appears and is used to establish permanent settlements abroad, outside of the permanent established country of the Navy. And the only way to do that is as a Navy is to commit to an act of war. If other people live in the area that is desired to be the new settlement. Not to mention, that is not the way of peace on earth, nor is it diplomacy or intelligence as an evolved species of mankind. Also notice the boat that was used in the 7th century, an ad hoc fleet, which is a temporary, non-permanent collection of vehicles or vessels assembled for an immediate, specialized, or unexpected transportation needed to rely on a standard of scheduled or a long-term contracted service. So, the sovereign citizen uses vessels to enforce services under a long-term scheduled contract. Can you think of any vessels that are a service to which involves a long-term contract? I can think of a few, although first let's get the definition of a vessel from the United States law. United States Code, Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedure, Section 9, Vessel of the United States. The term vessel of the United States, as used in this title, means a vessel belonging in whole or in part to the United States or any citizen thereof, or any corporation created by or under the laws of the United States, or of any territory, state, district, or possession thereof. Still, we the people don't have a clear picture of what a vessel actually is in the federal definition. For a more refined answer, we'll have to look to the state laws. Florida Statute 327.02, parens 46. A vessel is synonymous with boat as referred in Section 1, parens B, Article 7 of the state constitution, and includes every description of watercraft, barge, and airboat other than a seaplane on the water used or capable of being used as a means of transportation on water. There is a very descriptive depiction of what a vessel is on the water. Unlike the federal law that is vague, The state law is a little more clear. However, transportation on land or in the air is not covered by the word vessel. Although since the state statute is supporting the state constitution, just like how state laws are to support the United States Constitution, let's see if it is vice versa. Does what goes around come around? The Florida Constitution, Article 7, Section 1, Parens B. Taxation, appropriations, state expenses, state revenue limitation. Parens B. Motor vehicles, boats, airplanes, trailers, trailer coaches, and mobile homes, as defined by law, shall be subject to a license tax for their operation in the amounts and for the purposes prescribed by law, but shall not be subject to an ad valorem taxes. Next, we'll look up the legal definition of ad valorem taxes, because basically any vessel or vehicle is not subject to this kind of taxation. And that means your cars and trucks as well. Ad valorem is a Latin phrase that translates to according to the value. The essential characteristic of ad valorem taxes is that it is proportional to the value of the underlying asset, unlike a specific tax where the tax amount remains constant irrespective of the underlying asset's value. An ad valorem tax is commonly used in the taxation of real property. In layman's terms, if the asset can move its location, then it cannot be taxed based upon the value of the asset. An ad valorem tax is not specific because the value of the mobile asset is not constant. Therefore, an ad valorem tax on a vessel is taxation without representation. So the next time you buy a mobile vehicle and go to the DMV to transfer the car or truck after purchase in Florida, challenge the taxes for how much the vehicle costed you, because that tax of the vehicle's asset value of the purchase violates the state constitution of the state of Florida. Article 7, Section 1, Parens B. Do not pay the tax and participate in the unlawful behavior of the state. Just because the state does something illegal doesn't mean you are to act illegally. Be good and separate yourself from the state's criminal procedure. Knowing that loophole as a backdoor in taxation to the matrix, how would we, the people, use this option as a tax advantage? We'll have to jump over to Title 26 of the United States Code. The whole Title 26 is the federal tax law. If we, the people, go to Section 508, we will find special rules with respect to Section 501c3 organizations. Focusing on Section Parens C, to mirror the law, will read exceptions. The first point of Section C is mandatory exceptions. The word mandatory is used before exceptions because the federal, state, and/or local government does not have the option to deny you the path forward to not pay the taxation of the ad valorem taxes on the vessel, aka also known as mobile vehicle of transportation. We'll continue to 26 United States Code 508C1A. Section A and Section B shall not apply to Big A section, Parens Big A, churches, their integrated auxiliaries, and conventions or associations of churches. But stop right here. Does anyone see the clue? Most people might never see it. What does parents C, parents 1, and parents capital A say to you? We have a C, we have a 1, and we have a capital A. So what is that you can see? I can see a C for Constitution. I can see a 1 for first, and I can see a big capital A for amendment. The clue is pointing us to the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. But why? Write your answer in the chat of why you think the federal tax law is pointing us, the people, to the First Amendment of the United States Constitution with churches, integrated auxiliaries, and conventions or associations. Although, why do we, the people, want the 501c3 status? Let's read. 26 United States Code 501. Exemption from tax on corporations, certain trust, etc. Then we'll cruise down to Section C, list of exempt organization. But wait, does anyone see the pattern being created? Can anyone see the pattern being created? We will see the clue C1A appear again. Any corporation organized under Act of Congress, which is instrumentally of the United States, but only if such corporation is exempt from federal income taxes under this title without regard to any provision of law which is not contained in this title and which is not contained in a revenue act. Why is the mandatory tax exemption as a exception provision not in the tax law of this Title 26? Because we, the people, must find the answer in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Reading the key section of the First Amendment, we will make ourselves understand the law very clear. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. When we, the people, come to grips with this knowledge, we will learn that the reason why there is a thing like tax exemption is because no law prohibits the free exercise thereof an establishment of religion. If we connect all the dots together, we will know that an establishment of religion is a church, integrated auxiliary, convention, or association with religious or charitable purposes. Now, why would this be the First Amendment and not the right to bear arms? Previously, we studied that the sovereign citizen uses the tactics of war to enforce long-term contracts of taxation and with the law of the sea. Why is the church more powerful than any gun, taxation, or war? Because Jesus Christ is the Prince of Peace. The very first aspect of the law of the land is religion. The world wants you to hate religion because religion is the only way of freedom in the United States of America. The United States of America is not Mystery Babylon. The United States is not controlled by the Federal Reserve Bank or the Rothschild family. The United States is the government that is mentioned in the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Who is this child that Isaiah is speaking about? That would be Jesus Christ. Yet who is us Isaiah is referring to? Jesus Christ had not been born during the time of Isaiah. Plus, the Jewish nation has rejected Jesus Christ as the Messiah. So who is us Isaiah is talking about? It could only be the United States, because no other government has made a law as good as the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, to allow the people to be an establishment of religion and no law prohibit their free exercise thereof, in order to allow total freedom to practice the religion of Jesus Christ as a Christian without restrictions from the federal government or states. The mindset of a sovereign citizen will use the law to enforce a taxation of some kind, and the establishment of religion will fulfill the law, just like Jesus did on this earth. Nations without Christianity will use the law negatively against the people of the country or other nations. The mindset of an establishment of religion is to use the law for the positive outcome of any person, no matter the national origin. Peace outweighs war every time. Because how can you reason with a person who is wrong and teach them a good lesson of life if you kill the person who doesn't understand what is right? Which brings us to the point of why and how the United States Constitution was formed. The value of coinage from the CIA term of a sovereign citizen. The government before the United States were known as territories. Many different nations sent sovereign citizens to America to start new settlements. With the birth of the New World, America was divided, and after decades of taxation, the people in this land, decided enough was enough. The people made up their own minds to stop paying taxation to other countries, forming the 13 original colonies of the United States of America by drafting the United States Declaration of Independence, beginning this great nation of the United States that is upon the shoulder of Jesus Christ. He upholds us as a nation to serve the one and only true God of this world. Similar to the United Kingdom being sovereign citizens so they could war with the Vikings, the United States was at war with a sovereign citizen during the American Revolutionary War, who just so happened to be the United Kingdom again. If the United States would have lost the war, then America would have plunged into maritime law on the land, because the Navy, the Royal Navy of Great Britain, would have invaded and enforced military law instead of human rights law, as we have it today in modern times, being the winner with the constitutional rights from God. Constitutional rights do not come from men, nor from the government. Mankind has agreed for centuries. Constitutional rights are unalienable because God has given us them by giving his son to us. A gift of a perfect government that Jesus Christ is in control of, with endless limitations of love for one another. From sea to shining sea, the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people. Now we'll get to the right of the people that is hidden in the United States Declaration of Independence. We must read carefully and locate the clues to the mystery before us. Buckle up, folks. This is some top-notch writing we're about to read. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle in the ride at all times. Enjoy the show of language arts. Our forefathers had great understanding of words to form a long-lasting document for the people to use in this great nation. The very reason why the United States Declaration of Independence was started because of the sovereign citizen, when the United Kingdom was using their Royal Navy to establish a territory and a tax. As Jesus said in Matthew 7:16, ye shall know them by their fruits. Know that taxation is a fruit of the sovereign citizen. And the sovereign citizen goes down. He hits the canvas. That was a clear knockout by the champ. The underdog never stood a chance to take the title. By knockout, the undefeated champion of the world, the United States Declaration of Independence. That's all for now, folks. Stay tuned for Chapter 2 of Classroom 1, Constitutional Rights Class. This educational broadcast was brought to you by Daily Bread Ministry Trust. Size the Saint, over and out.